Everyone, I'm Matt, and welcome back to Toylytics, where we take a look at the analytical side of toy collecting. This video, we're going to look at the special releases in the Cosmic Legions line and how well their prices have been changing on the secondary market as of the end of the fourth quarter of 2024. So, looking at the figures that are part of this collection, we start with Walter the Mad, which was a Legions Con exclusive back in November of 2023. Here we're only looking at the Cosmic Legions version, the single carded version. This was part of a two-pack at Legions Con, and that data, if on the two-pack sales, is in the Mythic Legions data set because it goes with the Walter the Mad Mythic Legions version. So just the Cosmic in this particular data set. Next, we have the Tusk Heavy Gunner, which was an IshCon exclusive, I believe, back in July of 2024. Then we have Fisher Rice, part of the retailer wave that was just sent to customers as of the end of November. And also in November, we had the Legions Con 2024 exclusives, which were the Tusk Experiment 2-pack. These are only going to be the 2-pack data, as well as any figures from the 2-pack that were sold loose individually. They haven't been released on single cards yet, although as of the time of my recording here, they're going to be released on the Store Horseman website as single carded versions as of 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, January 6th. So you can get them then, but again, this data is just for the 2-packs. So going over to the data itself, let's see what's been going on. Again, not a whole lot of sales here quarter by quarter other than in the fourth quarter. Kind of interesting to see that Walter has been selling pretty consistently around 10 units per quarter. Fisher Rice sold really significantly. Again, remembering that these were only delivered in late November here to customers, so that was all that was available on eBay was in from late November on. About 6 weeks worth of data had about 28 sales, which was significant, and the 2-pack sold 15. The Heavy Gunner went down a little bit in quarter four compared to quarter three. So we'll see if that picks up any more in 2025 as it continues. Looking at the sales by month, again, not a whole lot of data here to see. We can tell that Walter has been selling pretty consistently between about 2 and 6 units per month, and Fisher Rice sold really well in December, sold 23 copies. Looking at the average prices here, the average prices are in the gray bar. The orange dot shows the maximum price, and the blue dot shows the minimum price. And all these prices are just fourth quarter 2024 data. So the 2-pack from Legions Con 24 sold for just under 140 on average. When I bought mine at Legions Con, I paid 104 a piece, and that included, I believe, some credit card service charges. I think they were 100 if you paid cash for them. So again, not too much higher here, especially when you consider the eBay prices also do include shipping as well. The experiments selling individually, again, not a whole lot of sales there, so those aren't super interesting to look at. The Heavy Gunner is selling on average for right around $63 or so. Fisher Rice right around 60. That was its retail price, and Walter is selling about $57 on average. The Heavy Gunner and Walter average prices from the Horseman Direct were, I believe, 37 to 40. I can't remember whether they went up to $40 for either of these or not, but 37 to $40, they're selling significantly higher than that. 57 to 63 for both of them. Looking at the changes in quarterly average price, again, not a whole lot of meaning here other than looking at Walter. He's been selling at his lowest price in quarter four 2024 that he pretty much sold during his entire release. He's basically been going down every quarter, other than in quarter three. He went up from quarter two, and then he went back down again about $9 in quarter four. If you watched any of my other videos on Cosmic Legions, it's kind of interesting to see that Walter has his higher, at least a relative higher price in quarter three, 2024, for pretty much every other figure in the Cosmic line. Quarter three, 2024 was a low point as far as its price was concerned. Kind of interesting to see that Walter went up a little bit here, but then went back down again. So kind of settling at that little bit less than $60 price, it seems, but again, we'll keep an eye on it moving forward. We'll finish up by looking at the individual sales here for the individual figures and start by looking at the 2-pack since it's alphabetically first. And this has a lot of similar pattern that we see for other special releases. So we see a very big spike in price at the beginning when the items are first released. So at Legion's Con, selling for 145 and up to about 190. But then once the hype dies down a little bit and more people start to offload their figures, you can see that in the latter part of December, they kind of settled around that $120 to $130 point. And again, this includes shipping. So even if you bought this from Legion Shop when this 2-pack was available at Legion Shop at the end of December, you were paying basically that same price there too. So the moral here is that if you can trust that these are going to be available, they are exclusive, but they're not that rare. You can still get copies. There are going to be copies available. If you can outlast that initial surge in price, chances are you're going to find it a lot cheaper and a lot more reasonable a little bit later on. Again, it'll probably be a little bit more pricey than the retail price would be, as you would expect, because something is exclusive. It's the only place to get it really is on eBay, but other than from Legion Shop in this case. But hopefully you can avoid paying the highest of high prices there if you can just wait a little bit after its initial release. Looking next at Fisher Rice, you can see that we're right at that $60 retail price. We have one sale here that I remember from December 31st. It was an auction sale. It sold for $36.33. So sometimes with auctions, you have only one bid. This was only one bid. It sold for $36.33, and that brought the whole price down. So if you're looking, a good idea for some of these figures is to keep an eye on auctions, right? Not a lot of people bid on these. Sometimes they do. Sometimes there's a lot of bidders, but other times, if there's only one bidder and the seller doesn't set a significant price floor, then you can walk away with a figure for really good price. I mean, a Fisher Rice for $36. I mean, sign me up all day if I had seen that auction, but unfortunately, I hadn't. Everything else sold for 50 and up. And again, most of these are selling for right around that retail price of 60. So we'll see what happens. Again, this is a really good sign for this figure overall, is that there's a lot of demand for it. I would say that, there's a pretty good chance that this may sell out from retailers, sooner than some of the others. And if you want to get one, probably, is worthwhile to pick one up now if you see one on eBay for a little bit less than retail price, or even from the retailers at that $60 price. Okay. Looking at the two individual tusk experiments, you can see the AA20 sold for $80, and then these two, one sold for close to 70 and one sold for 62. Not a whole lot of sales, so not a whole lot to look at there yet. We'll see what happens when the single cards are released. Looking at the heavy gunner, as we saw in the tables, there weren't a whole lot of sales here in the fourth quarter. We had one sell for 70, one sell that was repackaged for just above 55. So, in general, like what's an average here? I mean, some of these prices were pretty high, from like 76 up to 81. Other prices down below, at a similar point in the year, in the third quarter, were selling for $56 to $64. So, in general, you're probably not going to get a heavy gunner for much less than 60. Again, I mean, yeah, somebody did get a repackaged one there too, but not a whole lot of sales less than 60. If you see one for less than 60, it's probably a pretty good deal, unless you're able to pick one up. I don't know if this is going to be part of the in-stock sale on the Store Horseman website on January 6th. Maybe it is, and if you want one, then that may be a good idea to pick one up at the best price you're probably going to find it. You're probably not going to find a better price on eBay, at least according to this data. Okay. And then finally, we have Walter the Mad, the most data here, right? As we saw when it was first released, it was available for pretty high prices, from $70 to $85. Has come down pretty consistently since then, and the most recent sales were somewhere between about $50 to $65. So I would say if you see one for $50 to $55, that's probably a pretty good price. Not too many have sold for less than 50, and in general, that's the case with a lot of these special releases. These are the only cosmic figures. If you watched any of the other cosmic videos, these are the only ones that are higher than their retail price. Every other cosmic figure that's been released is available below its retail price on eBay. But these are the ones that are higher. And again, it's because they're not available everywhere. There's not a whole lot of them. There's not as many of them. You can't get them from a whole bunch of retailers. You can only get them from the Horsemen, or only get them at, the Street Team, or, Legion's Con, or some of the other bigger shows and things like that. And these are the ones where, if you want them, it makes sense to keep an eye on those sales and buy them as soon as you can, because the chances are you're not going to be able to get them at those sort of discounted prices later on. That is it for our discussion and review of the special releases in the Cosmic line. Stay tuned for more. We're going to start looking at Figure Obscure and a couple other lines as well, so stay tuned for those, and I will see you again soon. Take care.